Welcome to the Fighter Index, MMA's unofficial fighter scoring system. In this video, we're breaking down a high-level bantamweight matchup between Song Yadong and Deiveson Figueiredo, two very dangerous finishers with very different paths to victory. Song brings power, speed, and sharp boxing built around timing and explosive counters, while Figueiredo brings veteran experience, dangerous submission threats, and the kind of fight-changing power that has followed him all the way from flyweight to bantamweight. This is a matchup between youth and pressure versus experience and craft. Song wants fast-paced striking battle where his speed and combinations can take over, while Figueiredo wants chaos and heavy counters, clinch exchanges, and opportunities to turn mistakes into damage or submissions. We're going to see their best weapons, we're going to see each fighter's archetype, break down their strengths and weaknesses, we're going to score them across all four pillars of the Fighter Index, map out the fight dynamics, talk about their paths to victory, and see which fighter holds the edge when the numbers come together for their Fighter Index scores at the end of the video. So I see Song Yadong as an A-tier counter-striker. He's built around timing, clean boxing, and forcing opponents to make mistakes in striking exchanges. He wins by controlling range, staying disciplined, and punishing openings with speed and precision rather than reckless volume. His archetype works consistently against high-level bantamweights, and his defensive structure gives him real staying power against elite competition. He fits as A-tier fighter because he's highly dangerous and technically sharp, but not quite as complete across all phases of the division's S-tier fighters. I put Deiveson Figueiredo as an A-tier chaos finisher because he's built around creating dangerous moments and ending fights suddenly. He thrives when things get messy. Heavy counters, clinch exchanges, scrambles, and submission threats all feed directly into his best work. He doesn't need to control for long stretches because his archetype is about fight-changing moments. His championship experience and finishing ability make him a clear A-tier fighter, with clear danger to beat elite competition through chaos alone. Song Yadong's best weapon is his clean boxing and counter timing. He does his best work when fights stay at striking range, where his speed, sharp jab, and ability to punish mistakes let him control exchanges without wasting movement. He's especially dangerous when opponents overcommit because his counters land fast and with real power. His second major weapon is his explosive hand speed. At bantamweight, that speed creates separation. He can win short exchanges, beat opponents to the punch, and turn small openings into big momentum shifts before they have time to react. His third weapon is his takedown defense, and this allows him to keep fights where he wants them most, which is standing. That ability to deny grappling pressure is critical in a matchup against someone like Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo's best weapon is his fight-changing finishing ability. Whether it's a counter right hand, a tight guillotine, or a scramble on the mat, he is always one moment away from ending the fight. He doesn't need sustained volume, he just needs openings. His second major weapon is his submission threat. He has a great jiu-jitsu game and is dangerous off the back, making every grappling exchange risky. Even from bad positions, he can create real finishing danger, which changes how opponents approach every scramble. His third weapon is his clinch. He's extremely dangerous in close-range exchanges, using short hooks, elbows, physical strength, and dirty boxing to disrupt rhythm and force uncomfortable moments. Song Yadong's biggest strength is how dangerous he is in striking exchanges. His game is built around speed, sharp boxing, and real knockout power for the bantamweight division. He does a great job controlling range with his jab, mixing in fast combinations and punishing opponents the moment they leave openings. He's especially dangerous in counter exchanges where his timing and explosiveness let him land hard without a lot of wasted movement. What makes Song especially effective is that he combines that power with discipline. He doesn't just brawl, he stays patient, he makes reads, and picks moments to explode rather than forcing bad shots. His athleticism also gives him a major advantage in fast exchanges, where reactions and speed matter most. When Song controls the pace and keeps the fight in open striking space, he becomes one of the most dangerous finishers in the division. Song Yadong is most effective when he controls the pace and keeps the fight in boxing and kickboxing range, but he can become less comfortable when opponents force extended clinch exchanges or heavy grappling pressure. Fighters who can disrupt his rhythm, crowd his space, and make him defend takedowns tend to slow down his best offense. His output can also dip in longer, grinding fights where opponents survive the early danger and force him to work at a slower pace. While his defensive wrestling has improved, sustained top pressure from strong grapplers can still create problems, especially if he spends too much time defending instead of striking. When opponents take away his timing and make the fight ugly, his effectiveness drops noticeably. Deiveson Figueiredo's biggest strength is how dangerous and how successful he is in chaotic fights. He carries real one-shot power even at bantamweight, and he's extremely good at turning small mistakes into big momentum swings. Whether it's a counter right hand, a tight guillotine, or a scramble on the mat, Figueiredo is always a threat to end the fight suddenly. What makes him especially dangerous is how complete his finishing ability is. He can hurt opponents on the feet with explosive counters, but he also brings a high-level submission game that makes every grappling exchange risky. His clinch work, physical strength, and veteran composure allow him to stay dangerous even when the fight gets messy. When Figueiredo can slow opponents down, he can force reactions and create chaos. He becomes one of the most unpredictable finishers in the division. Figgy's style works best when opponents give him big moments, but against disciplined, high-output fighters, he can struggle to consistently win rounds. His offense often relies on explosive counters and opportunistic finishing chances rather than steady volume, which can make him fall behind if those big moments don't come. His pace can also slow in longer fights, especially when opponents force him to work through extended striking exchanges or in a grapple-heavy fight without giving him easy openings. While he's dangerous everywhere, fighters who stay composed, manage distance well, and avoid reckless mistakes can limit a lot of his best offense. If he's forced into a clean technical fight instead of chaos, the matchup becomes much harder for him. Now it's time to break these fighters down using the fighter index scale. We break down each phase of the fight and score each skill to better understand the strengths and the weaknesses of a fighter's game. All fighter index scores are based on a scale of 1 to 10. Scores are subjective and can change as the fighter evolves from fight to fight. Here's how the fighter index works. Each fighter is evaluated across 4 pillars, made up of 4 key skills. Every skill is scored on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 represents a non-functional ability and 10 represents a rare or generational skill. Everything in between reflects a fighter's level in that area. And at the end of the video, those scores are combined to calculate the fighter index score to see who is the more complete fighter. Pillar 1, Fight IQ and Athletic Tools. This matchup is extremely close because both fighters bring high-level experience, explosiveness, and proven toughness, but they apply those tools differently. Starting with Fight IQ, both Song Yadong and Deiveson Figueiredo score an 8. Song's Fight IQ shows up in his patience, disciplined reads, and ability to stay structured without forcing bad exchanges, while Figgy's comes more from veteran instincts. He's excellent at managing dangerous moments and finding sudden openings in the chaos. Athleticism is also even at 8 apiece. Song brings faster hands, sharp reactions, and explosive counters, while Figueiredo uses his physical strength and burst power to create fight-changing moments from almost nothing. In stamina, they're even again, but this time they score at 7s. Neither fighter is built around overwhelming cardio pressure, but both can maintain a strong enough pace to stay dangerous deep into fights. Resolve is where Figueiredo gets the slight edge, scoring a 9 compared to Song's 8. Song has proven toughness against elite bantamweights, but Figueiredo's championship experience and ability to stay dangerous under heavy adversity give him a small advantage there. Because most categories stay even and Figueiredo holds the slight edge in resolve, Pillar 1 slightly favors Deiveson Figueiredo. Pillar 2, Striking and Stand-Up Defense. Both fighters are dangerous for very different reasons, and this is where the matchup starts to feel especially volatile. Starting with striking, Song Yadong and Deiveson Figueiredo are even at 8, but the way they get there is completely different. Song is the cleaner technician, sharp boxing, fast combinations, and excellent timing on counters, while Figueiredo brings heavier one-shot danger and the ability to turn a single opening into a finish. In the clinch, Figueiredo takes the edge with a 7 compared to Song's 6. He's more comfortable in tight spaces, using physical strength, short hooks, elbows, and dirty boxing to make close-range exchanges dangerous. Song is functional there, but he prefers an open striking range. Striking defense favors Song. He scores a 7 to Figgy's 6. He's more defensively responsible, better at staying composed behind his boxing, and harder to hit clean over long stretches, while Figueiredo's aggressive style can leave openings. In chin, they're even again, and they both score an 8. Both have proven durability and have shown that they can survive high-level wars without fading mentally. Because Song has the cleaner technical striking and stronger defensive structure, while Figueiredo has the clinch edge and bigger chaos factor, Pillar 2 slightly favors Song Yadong. Pillar 3, Grappling and Control. This is where the matchup starts to shift more clearly. Starting with wrestling, Figueiredo scores a 7 compared to Song's 6. Song is solid enough to compete and defend himself, but Figueiredo is more comfortable initiating grappling exchanges and using wrestling as a part of his overall game. That carries into takedown offense, where Figueiredo again holds the edge, 6 to Song's 5. Neither fighter is built around consistent takedown pressure, but Figueiredo is more likely to use level changes and opportunistic takedowns to shift the momentum. In top control, Figueiredo leads 6 to Song's 5. He's more effective at settling into strong positions and using top pressure to create offense, while Song hasn't shown the same level of sustained control once the fight hits the mat. The biggest separation comes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where Figueiredo scores an 8 compared to Song's 5. That gap is massive because it means every scramble and every grappling exchange carries real finishing danger for Song, while Song's submission game is much more functional than threatening. Because of the clear advantages in wrestling, takedown offense, and especially submission threat, Pillar 3 strongly favors Deiveson Figueiredo. Pillar 4, Defense, Scrambles, and Ground Survival. Both fighters are strong defensively, but they succeed in very different ways, and that creates one of the most interesting layers of this matchup. Starting with takedown defense, Song Yadong gets the slight edge, scoring an 8 compared to Figueiredo's 7. He's extremely difficult to hold down consistently, and his athleticism helps him get up quickly and reset back to striking range, which is exactly where he wants to be in the fight. In BJJ defense, the advantage flips to Figueiredo, who scores an 8 to Song's 7. His high-level submission awareness and experience in dangerous grappling exchanges make him safer when the fight gets messy on the ground. Off the back is where the gap becomes much bigger. Figueiredo scores a 7 compared to Song's 5, giving him a real offensive threat from bad positions. Song is mostly focused on getting back up, while Figueiredo will actually create submission danger from the bottom. In scrambles, Figueiredo leads again 8 to Song's 7. Song is quick and athletic in transitions, but Figueiredo is far more dangerous when positions start changing because he can turn chaos into submissions or reversals almost instantly. Because Song is better at initially defending takedowns, but Figueiredo is much more dangerous once grappling exchanges begin, Pillar 4 slightly favors Deiveson Figueiredo. Now, when you take everything from the 4 pillars and you put it together, this is where the fight really starts to come into focus. This isn't just about individual skills anymore, this is about how those skills show up when the fight is actually happening. Who's controlling pace, who's forcing their style, and where each fighter is most effective. Because on paper this matchup is competitive, but when you break it down phase by phase, you start to see how this fight is likely to play out. In Pillar 1, Figueiredo gets a slight edge because both fighters are even in fight IQ at 8, athleticism at 8, and stamina at 7, but Figueiredo's 9 in resolve compared to Song's 8 give him the advantage when the fight gets uncomfortable and momentum starts shifting. Pillar 2 slightly favors Song Yadong. Both are dangerous strikers, but Song's cleaner boxing, sharper counters, and stronger striking defense give him the advantage in controlled stand-up exchanges, especially if he can stay at range. Pillar 3 strongly favors Deiveson Figueiredo because he leads in wrestling 7-6, takedown offense 6-5, and top control 6-5, but the biggest gap is in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where he scores an 8 compared to Song's 5. That submission threat means every grappling exchange carries real finishing danger. Pillar 4 also leans towards Figueiredo. Song has the better takedown defense, scoring an 8 to Figueiredo's 7, but Figueiredo's 8 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense compared to Song's 7, plus his 7-5 edge off the back and 8-7 advantage in scrambles make him much more dangerous once grappling exchanges begin. So this fight likely comes down to range and control. If Song keeps it standing, manages distance, and forces a technical striking battle, his speed and boxing can give him the edge. But if Figueiredo can close the distance, create clinch exchanges, and drag the fight into grappling transitions, his submission threat can completely change the matchup. Now we look at each fighter's path to victory based on what we learned from the 4 pillars. Song Yadong's path to victory is built around keeping this fight clean, controlling the range, and forcing Deiveson Figueiredo to fight a technical striking battle instead of the chaotic exchanges that he thrives in. The biggest comparison is Song's 8 in striking against Figueiredo's 6 in striking defense. That gap gives Song a real opportunity to win the fight with sharp boxing, clean counters, and disciplined combinations, especially if he stays at range and makes Figueiredo chase. Just as important is Song's 8 in takedown defense against Figueiredo's 6 in takedown offense. If Song can consistently deny those entries and prevent the fight from turning into a clinch-heavy grappling exchange, he takes away one of Figueiredo's best paths to creating chaos. He doesn't need to win scrambles, he needs to avoid them altogether. Song also has a defensive structure to make Figueiredo work. His 7 in striking defense compared to Figueiredo's 8 in striking means he can't be reckless, but if he stays disciplined and forces Figueiredo to lead, the cleaner opportunities should belong to him. For Song, this fight is about distance, patience, and denying chaos. Keep it standing, win the cleaner exchanges, and never let Figueiredo turn the fight into a scramble-heavy battle. Deiveson Figueiredo's path to victory is built around disrupting Song Yadong's rhythm, closing distance, and turning a clean striking fight into the kind of chaotic battle where he becomes most dangerous. The biggest comparison is Figueiredo's 8 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu against Song's 7 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense. That may only look like a small gap on paper, but combined with Figueiredo's 7 and off the back compared to Song's 5, and his 8 in scrambles to Song's 7, that means every grappling exchange carries real finishing danger. He also needs to take advantage of his 7 in the clinch compared to Song's 6. If Figueiredo can force close-range exchanges, tie Song up, and break the rhythm of those clean boxing combinations, he takes away Song's biggest advantage. He doesn't want a long-range technical striking battle, he wants pressure, he wants counters, and moments where one mistake can completely flip the fight. Even on the feet, Figueiredo's 8 in striking against Song's 7 in striking defense means he carries real knockout danger if Song gets too comfortable. His goal is to not out-volume Song, it's to create big moments, force reactions, and make every exchange feel dangerous. For Figueiredo, this fight is about pressure, disruption, and creating chaos. If he can turn the fight messy, his finishing ability becomes the biggest weapon in the matchup. When the numbers are finalized, Deiveson Figueiredo comes in with a 7.4 fighter index score compared to Song Yadong at 6.8. That gap is driven largely by Figueiredo's advantages in the grappling phases. His wrestling, submission threat, and ability to create danger in the scrambles give him more ways to take control of the fight outside of striking exchanges. Song's boxing, speed, and cleaner defensive structure keep the matchup highly competitive on the feet, but across more total phases of fighting, Figueiredo's finishing ability and overall versatility give him the stronger overall profile. And that's the breakdown for Song Yadong versus Deiveson Figueiredo using the Fighter Index. This matchup really comes down to control. If Song can keep the fight standing and force a clean technical striking battle, his speed and boxing give him a real edge. But if Figueiredo can close the distance, create scrambles, and turn the fight chaotic, his submission threat and finishing ability can completely change everything. Now, I want to hear from you. Who do you think takes this fight, and is there a skill that you'd score differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's break it down. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Fighter Index breakdowns.